Hello, I'm Skylar. I've been working on this puzzle for about 4 years now, on and off mostly, but it was kind of like a COVID thing I picked up. And yeah, I think I have a solve for it. I haven't seen anybody else propose something like this, but I definitely used a lot of bits and pieces that everybody else in the Facebook group and all these websites that I use. I kind of took bits and pieces from you guys, so thank you if you contributed to the Facebook group or made a website. I really appreciate it. But yeah, here's my solve, and yeah, let's get into it. So this is the painting in the poem. Um, and yeah, this is gonna be more of like a, if you know it, like you'll pick up on the things. Not so much for beginners, but I have links in the description if you want to get started. So yeah, let's jump right in. This is the map of New Orleans. This is where most of our sites are going to be located today. So start where everybody else starts, in Lafayette Square. There's so many clues pointing towards Lafayette Square. In the poem, it says, in the middle of 21 from end to end. There's 21 blocks in New Orleans, and Lafayette Square is in the middle of it. Um, a lot of this stuff is from Scott Harrison on his website that I have linked in the description below. Go check his stuff out. Like, I wouldn't have been anywhere close to where I am today without his help. But yeah, Lafayette Square, it's alluded to in the poem. 15 rows down to the ground is another line in the poem. And I think that lines up with Gallier Hall up here. Depending on how you count, there's like 15 or 16 steps, but regardless, there's a lot more clues. There's the geodetic survey plaque right here that has the latitude and longitude of New Orleans in it, and that's also on the painting in the corners. Um, this is the McDonough statue with the boy, which is also in the picture right here. The boy kind of flying. It's you kind of got to look at it, but yeah, it's angled the same way. Um, let's see. And then also three stand watch. There's three statues in the square. I'm sure there's more clues, but those are just the main ones. Um, Moving on, we'll go over to one of my favorite locations is the Piazza d'Italia. And as you can see, here's our flying boy again. And it kind of lines up with the picture of Italy here, like the molding or the sculpture of it, I guess. And it's got the rings as well. There's a couple rings here. It's not perfect. None of this is gonna be perfect. Okay, none of it is. If you've worked on this at any length of time, you're gonna find like all these secrets, all these clues. They're not perfect, but they're all kind of hints getting us closer and closer. Another one of those clues is going to be this mask. So these are the fountains kind of located on this side. There's two of them, and they just to me kind of look like the mask with the hollow eyes, and then there's like a little spot for like a spout or like a spigot. But that's just what it looks like to me. Um, the next location is going to be Duncan Plaza. It kind of lines up with the circles on the clock. I'm not too like confident on this one. This is another one that I borrowed from Scott Harrison, but yeah, I mean, it's not nothing. I think it's something for sure. Um, our next location is going to be the Roosevelt Hotel. It was the Grunewald Hotel, and in the basement was an old nightclub that legends like Louis Armstrong and Cab Calloway used to play. And in the basement, it has these weird looking sculptures of nymphs and like fairies and gnomes and stuff like that. So that just kind of alludes to back to the poem, gnomes admire Faye's delight. Um, our next spot is going to be the St. Charles Hotel, right down a couple blocks from the Roosevelt Hotel. And the lines here, here is a sovereign people who build palaces to shelter their heads for a night. This is a line from Domingo Sarmiento. He traveled here in the U.S. to just come see the great sights, and he saw this, and that's what he had to wrote in. I think if Byron put 3 whole lines in it just to allude to one thing, like I think it's going to be pretty important. And there's more to this, so put a pin in this. Remember this. We're going to come back to this. Um, but yeah, let's move on. This is the Lee circle. This again, Scott Harrison did a fantastic job. He actually overlaid the clock over on Lee's circle, and he found the water grates actually line up on where they are in real life. And then also, I don't know how accurate this is, but he counted like the sidewalk kind of spaces and stuff, and he seems to that it's a pretty good link, and it looks like it to me. But check out for yourself. Like I said, I have that link in the description. Um, and yeah, you can kind of tell like I'm kind of breezing through these locations. Like there's a lot in Lafayette Park. There's a lot in the Piazza d'Italia, but I think they're just bits and pieces to like the entire puzzle. So let's keep moving. This is actually where Scott believes the cask is buried. Um, I don't know. He does a lot of math, a lot of complicated stuff. You're gonna find like in this, like it's not too complicated, but there's some stretches later on. But no, for me, this just looks like the mask. Like that's the only comparison I can draw. Um, of course, you have the Superdome up here because the moon in the picture you can kind of see over here, the moon. Um, and then yeah, our next location is gonna be Louis Armstrong Park. Just 2 big clues here. There's gonna be the archway, right? Looks a lot like the arch in the painting. And then Congo Square refers to a couple lines in the poem that says where the sound of friends can be heard or something. I can't remember the line, but yeah, those are the 2 main clues. I think there's more clues in Armstrong Park, but like I said, all these clues are just pointing to specific locations, and we'll zoom out and look like what that looks like here in a second. Another big location is Jackson Square, right? It's got the horse in the bottom of the painting, and then 3 stand watch, and then the circular imagery or image of Jackson Square. A lot of people think this is where it's buried, but again, I think this is just another location. I think it's just another piece in the puzzle. Um, and we also have Preservation Hall over here as well. So that's all the spots that I think most people can agree on. This next part is probably going to trip some of y'all out, but stay with me. There's more to it. Um, I kind of zoomed out after looking at all these spots. I zoomed out and I traced them together on a map, and that's what it looks like. To me, it looks like the 2 arches on the actual painting. So we have the moon, which is the Superdome up here, the arch over here, the big arch, obviously, and then this little arch. And like I said, it's not perfect. It's janky, but yeah, this is Lee Circle. This is the Union train station, Superdome, Louis Armstrong Park, Preservation Hall, Jackson Square on the outer arch. And then for this inner arch, this is going to be Piazza d'Italia, Lafayette Square, Duncan Park, Roosevelt Hotel, and then the St. Charles Hotel. So my basic idea is like, if there's 2 arches on the painting, then the gym, and the gym is on the inside, then the gym is going to be on the inside of this arch. So I know I probably lost a few of y'all, but that's just me. But stick with me because it gets even crazier. But first, let's take a look at this. There's still 3 lines left that we don't know in the poem. And that's going to be these last, or 3 or 4, depending on gnomes and fays. But yeah, so gnomes admire fays delight, the namesake's meeting near this site. I'm bringing this up because this is 98th Street. Now, it's not called that today. It's actually called St. Charles Avenue, which runs all the way through Poydras and stops at Canal Street. And my reason for bringing this up is, let's look at the poem. We zoomed out from all the locations in our arch in New Orleans. Now let's zoom out in the poem again. We're talking about here is a sovereign people who build palaces to shelter their heads for a night, right? We're talking about the St. Charles Hotel. Gnomes admire fays delight. The namesake's meeting, well, the namesake's meeting of the St. Charles Hotel is going to be St. Charles Avenue, right? It's right on the corner there of St. Charles and Canal Street. And if that's the namesake of it, I'm kind of drawing this inference of Byron wants us to look at the historical significance of everything, right? And it used to be called Naiades Street. Now, what does Naiades mean? Naiades is actually French for river ferry or fay or ferry. Fay is just another word for ferry. But Naiade is literally means river ferry. So we're talking about the St. Charles Hotel. So yeah, actually, yeah, I have a next slide. Actually, yeah, let's look at that. So putting it all together here, we're talking about the St. Charles Hotel. The namesake of the St. Charles Hotel is going to be St. Charles Avenue. St. Charles Avenue used to be called Naiade Street, which means river ferry, Faye's Delight, and in fact, there's the Canal Street River Ferry not a couple blocks away from the significant hotel. It's the Canal Street Ferry Terminal, and it's actually where I think it's buried. It connects the New Orleans to Algiers Point. And this is kind of funny. I actually went over there to go dig around and go poke around, and I found this sign that says New Orleans' best kept secret. I can't tell you when that sign was put up. I can't imagine it was there in the 80s. But like when I saw this, I was like, dude, there's no way. This is like pointing me in the right direction. I just felt like I was right on track. But yeah, this is where it gets crazy. If you didn't believe any of that stuff, totally fine. But you can't deny this. Okay, let's look at Poydras and Canal Street. Okay, they kind of make a V. It's kind of like where we pivot on the Mississippi River, and yeah, they make a V. Okay. Now, Skylar, you might be asking, what's so significant about stupid V? Well, in the painting, the clock actually runs through the V in preservation. And now let's look at the full image real quick. Okay, here it is. So now you're asking, okay, that's just a coincidence, right? Wrong. You're wrong. It's not a coincidence. Look at the letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If he was just gonna throw preservation up there just to point us to Preservation Hall, why wouldn't he just center it, right? There's no reason why he would put 6 letters and 5 letters on this side. So let's look closer at it. So the clock is actually running through the right side of the V and pointing towards the gem. And if we zoom back out here, let me get back in the presentation mode. If we zoom out here, we have our V, and then look what's pointing to the right of the V. It's going to be your Canal Street Ferry Terminal, and that's right here in the image. And I don't know, I think this is cutting it to the right when you zoom in, but that's just me. It could just be straight down the middle. Regardless, there is a clear line going through the V pointing towards the gym. And yeah, we'll get a closer look at that right here. So this is the Canal Street Ferry Terminal. There's a few more main reasons why I think this is it. Not just because the V, but I also think this is shaped like the gym. It's also just from an overhead view, it's just shaped like the stick in the hand. Like this is the hand and this is the stick. And also too, in the painting, there's a horse in the bottom right, if you know. And a lot of people have talked about the Joan of Arc statue, right? She kind of is holding her her flag stick like that, and it's just come up a lot in my research over this. But this statue used to be at the river gate with all these big old arches, like in the painting. I don't know. Anytime I was walking through the city, anytime I was looking for anything, I'd just look for arches. That's actually what brought us to the Piazza d'Italia. But yeah, look at this place. This place was torn down in 1995 to make room for the Harris Casino, which is actually right here. So I don't know why they did that, but it was a pretty neat spot. It was there when Byron went and looked around the city. And yeah, Joan of Arc statue was there as well. This is also right there. This is just like a minor hint too. This is another just horse statue. This is the Bernardo de Galvez monument. I couldn't find like too much about this. I have a link in the description about the website that I'm using the information off of, but it says erected by the Spanish in 1977. But the plaque here, oh, sorry, I don't know what just happened. Um, there's a plaque here, and it says like the Spanish gave it to the New Orleans government just to thank them or whatever. Um, so yeah, that's just like a minor thing, but there's way more to this. So this is the building where I think Byron would have gone up. It's right here in the image, and it literally looks over the Canal Street Ferry Terminal, which is why I think he would have saw this right here, and why it makes sense that it would line up with that. Um, and I only point this out to say like 3 stand watch. I know it's not so tight, but it's something. It's not nothing, and it's definitely what he would have used to look over this. But if that was it, like if that's all the evidence I had, like we would not be sitting here making this video right now. So the real reason why I'm making this, okay. So I pulled this up. This is Google Street View. Um, Now throughout the whole time, me like researching this, doing all this, like nobody's known what the number 19 was. Like there's this 19 up here that nobody knows what it is, and I think this is what it is. So this is the Canal Street Ferry Terminal. If you count all these white blocks over here, they actually add up to 19. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's get over here. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, that's one. But also, look here. There's these little triangles, these little shaded triangles there with the window. If we look over here, there's these little shaded triangles. Okay, there's those little shaded triangles. And then this is what got me, guys, because when you click in here, if you come in here, is it gonna let me get in there. When we come into the Canal Street Ferry Terminal, where's my little dude? Oh gosh. We gotta go back in time to do this. Yeah. Is it here? No. Come on. Help me out. Okay. When we bring our dude, we go sit down in here. What do we see plastered everywhere? It is literally just the clock and the arches. And every window everywhere. Like, when I saw this, like, it all just clicked to me. And yeah, I mean, oh, let's look at this. I want to show you guys one more thing before we wrap it up. Let's go back to our dude here, kind of facing it. Yeah. No, no, get me out of here. Oh gosh, bear with me. I'm not editing this, I'm not doing none of that. Alright, perfect. Like, okay, this is what I was looking at too. Like, there are a couple places he could bury it. Like, one is right here. Like, that's so low key. Like, one thing everybody talks about is like, okay, how would he bury it? Like, he is a pretty savvy guy. Like, we know in other locations he's put on vests. I'm talking about Byron. He put on vests to like act as a construction worker to go bury this stuff. And there's a lot of laws about burying stuff near the Mississippi River here. And there's that little green space, and then there's this under here. And if you're wondering why I haven't like gone over there and dug up, it's just because it's gone now. This has been replaced. I think back in 2020 or 2021, they started the new Canal Street Ferry Terminal, and if I'm right, that cask is gone forever, no doubt about it. I mean, that thing is just demolished, and it sucks. But yeah, that's my solve for it. Let me know if you think I'm crazy or a genius. Let me know if you have any questions, if I missed anything. I know I didn't do every little detail, but um, yeah, that's what I think. Let me know.